I can... Oh, fuck. What the... Man, I can... Oh, fuck. What the... Man, I can... God damn it. I'm so fucking stupid. 1 second. God damn it. Okay. Well, at least it's working now, I believe. Let me double check. God, the delay is so much stronger than I thought it was. Wonder if I can simplify that. Okay. Well, yep, okay. Christ. What a wacky bunch of bullshit. Okay, so the issue was, I figured it out. I was messing around with both streaming and recording simultaneously, and I was hyping up how cool modern tech is, that I can stream, record, work in a game engine and an IDE, and have Chrome up all at the same time, because I was so used to having hand-me-downs and bad computers that weren't able to keep up. And I was talking about how cool this was. But what I had done was, when I went to set the settings, let me drop my mic audio a little bit, because I'm noticing it's a little loud on there. When I was... lost my train of thought. Oh, when I was doing it, what I did, I forgot to, I set the audio channel of the computer to 2 and the mic to 1, but you're only allowed to stream one audio source. So I was trying to figure out a way to split them while also recording, and so it caused a bunch of fucking issues. Anyways, I figured it out. We're all good now. Now we can get back to work. So, yeah, we were going to. So I've done a bit of work since the last time you guys saw what was happening. Basically, I've individualized the tag flipping for the systems. So the next thing is going to be make sure the enemy behavior routes through all the systems properly, which is going to involve making sure that this routes into the queue system and such forth. And so I was working on that a little bit today, and so once we get that done, then we hook in the player turns. That'll go back and forth, and then after that we'll hook in the reaction system. And then once that's done, we should have a fully functioning turn system. All we'll have to do is add in the buffer delay for animations, and then we're off to the actual design races when it comes to setting up maps and, you know, actual abilities that you can do and so on. So, next up is just to make sure that the queue works. So what we're going to do is we're going to go bit by bit through this. I want to see where we are at this point. So we're going to put on breakpoints on... I remember they don't like doing that, so we'll grab U. And we're going to grab the validator. I want to see what the validator is doing. And then I want to see turn system validator. We'll grab behavior. Behavior is already hooked in. Then we're going to grab the queue system. Queue system's hooked in. Then I don't care about the spawn system. I don't care about the processor right now. And then we're going to grab the in-frame cleanup system. And I want to make sure that you're working properly. All right. So we start in the turn system. Good. Let's hop down in. Don't care about this. Okay. We get the turn system data. We pick our correct state, which is cycle. I think it's supposed to start at run, but it doesn't particularly matter right now. Unless, what is the current speed then? 10. Okay, it's still set to 10. So the default's still set probably back at spawn, so that's fine. Okay, so we're going to go through, subtract the speed by... Oh, no, actually it is a problem because it should be 12 at start. That's fine. And the reason is, basically just as part of the iterative loop, we're supposed to keep running the turn cycle until the speed hits 0. Once we finish the speed 0 turn, we go back up to max. And so I'm doing the decrement at the beginning, and so I'm just going to buffer that decrement by 1 increment, basically, in order to make sure that that works. But okay, so we're going to, and I should actually change that 2 to a variable. I don't know why I did that, but we'll fix that. That's the next thing we can do. Let me make a list of notes of what we're adding and changing. So next thing is going to be changing decrementer, I can't type, to a variable. Okay. Then we're going to hop through. We're going to restart the cycle, or onstart cycle. We're going to check to see if it's the player's turn. It's not. Then we're going to ready enemies. Let's see. What did ready enemies return? How do I see that? Do I see that here? I would assume there's a local variable somewhere that's going to be ref. Well, I guess it's not a local variable. It's just the output of the function. Oh, and it will be in this. So I could reference that, I guess. Data. Oh, no, that's going to be behavior system data, which I think is this one. Maybe it's that one. I don't know. We'll hit continue and then see where it goes. It's greater than 0, so it should hop into here. Oh, we're heading in through. We caught an error? Hold on. We did catch an error. Okay. Get singleton requires that exactly one entity match this query. Oh, I know the issue. We added the behavior system here. So I just need to throw that in here. Okay. And then we'll rerun this. Reattach to Unity. Okay. And then that should be good to go. Put it here. I hate walking through the random secondary functions. Okay, resume. Yep. Then we'll hop through. Oh, I think we had another error. Yep. Add or resize assumes the list capacity is sufficient. Uh-oh, we fucked up the method. What did I do wrong here? Get behavior system data, which we have to do or else it would have thrown that other error. Then active entities equals to new unsafe list. Oh, I didn't set a capacity, but did add or resize. Okay. I don't really like the fact that this has a dynamic size right now, but I also just kind of want to make sure it works, and then we'll come back to it later. What is this? Okay, yeah, it is going to throw me an error. Okay, I thought that it wouldn't like the fact that there's no allocator, but then when I tried to assign it one, it then told me I needed to find a length. So I guess that's good on it for forcing me to do that. But it didn't throw me an error beforehand, so I just figured that I could get away with it. But that's I'm glad it doesn't let me get away with that. Okay, if that's true, we need to figure out a way to compute out. So what we're trying to do is we have a list of enemies, right? So we have enemies 1 through n, and some sub n group are going to actually be able to go, and so we want to grab that chunk and then add them to this list. So we need the capacity to assume that it's possible that it could be all of them. So maybe we just set it to n irregardless of how many actually get added. I could also just add the initial value of capacity 0 and let it just expand, but that's just sloppy. If I'm going to actually force it to have a size, I might as well do this the right way. So I think if we do n, because, I mean, it's an array of bytes. I don't think it'll be too big of an issue if it's over a lot. It is a little annoying. Maybe we do a temp array and then store it into the grander one. If it becomes an issue, I have no problem rewriting this because this is a sloppy function, but for now we'll just set it to, I believe currently that the, we're only allowing up to byte worth of enemies right now. So there's only up to 255 possible enemies. 256, technically, because you can include 0. So in that case, we'll just do byte.max. I need to figure out a way to reconfigure that part of my keyboard. Okay. And then that's fine. And so then this should just be... How does it work in autocomplete? If I do space, just separates that out. Okay. Anyways, sorry. I was trying to figure out a way to what button I would change that to on my keyboard. Yeah, so that we set that to max, and then we just need to change this back to add no resize. And then that should run. Let's make sure that there's no errors before we... Oh. Hit player state. Okay, hitting player state's fine, because that means that it ran through the player turn, or through the enemy turn correctly, which is supposed to happen after this. So now it's back to being playtestable. Okay. So we grab process state, we'll skip down. I don't really need that, actually. And then we'll hop over... Let's hop in. Yeah, I know. Oh, interesting. It didn't let me go into that function. I'll just tag that next time. Okay. So it's gonna do that. I should be able to grab data at this point and just, or will it be this one? System data. Behavior system data. Active enemies. Let's see, what do we have? 2. Oh no, we have a single ID number 2. Does that fit with what we currently have set up on the backend? I think it is, because right now we're just toggling between speed 3 and speed 10, so that we just spawn 3 enemies. So the first one is 3, second one's 8, third one's back to 3, and then the player's 1. So it's going to be 0, enemy 1 is 3, enemy 2 is 10, enemy 3 is 3. Okay, then yeah, that's correct. Cool. So that works. Good. And then we still have capacity at 256, which is so fucking stupid, but it's fine. It works for now, and we'll deal with it later if it's an issue, which it might be. We'll resume program. Validate. Ref state. Yeah, okay, so now we're over to the validator. Let's hop into the validator right here. I don't really need that part. Oh, I hit it there. Fuck. I don't like how it does that. Okay, let's click there. There we go. Check state. All right, so we check the current state. Let's hop over. Current state is enemy turn. Okay, which means that we should now do plan enemy turns. So let's hop into there. We'll make a new job. We'll schedule in parallel. So now enemy number 2, which is the only one that should be going right now. Ah, I see. This is not going to work. Here's what we'll do. There's a couple ways we could do this. The first one I think is the sloppiest, which is that we So this is the part of ECS I'm trying to figure out the right way to do. How do you handle targeting specific entities? By like position or by... Because I don't want to iterate through all the enemies every single time. Like, if I go to do an attack, and I'm going to attack one specific enemy, in standard code I would just be like, target object. Because we're now at ECS, I want to target like a component of a specific entity. So there's one way, which is we just iterate through all the enemies in the entire level, and we check to see if their ID matches one of the IDs that we have, and then they do their Q, which would be dumb. That's the ultra dumb way. Then there's we have a tag or a flag of some type, and then whenever we grab the list of bytes, grab the list of IDs, we also flip those IDs to make sure that they're ready, and then that's how we run it here. And then but then will we even need the IDs at that point? Let me think. We might not need the IDs by the end of this, which would be kind of interesting. I kind of want to keep them for now because it's a nice feeling to actually have an ID somewhere that you can track. And for logging purposes, it'll probably be pretty helpful. So I think keeping it's okay, but that might be interesting that the system itself doesn't need it. So yeah, we'll cancel out of this, and then what we'll do is we'll go into the turn system, and whenever we ready the enemy, which is we grab the value, we'll also do actually I need to grab the enemy script first. All we have to do is set this to an IEnableable. When we spawn them, we'll grab the spawn system. Or no, we can do it here. We'll do set component enabled, action set on the entity is false. Okay, and then now we should be able to go into here, and we'll do system API dot set component enabled of type enemy or no, I don't have to variablize this. Action set on. Is there a way to get the entity with query? Enemy dot entity. Is there a... I'm not seeing it. Hold on. Alright, this is why we have the magic of... Did I close that Chrome tab? I closed that Chrome tab. 1 second. New incognito. Oh. I forgot. The reason I did all of this fucking work and then caused all these bugs was so that we could play music in the background and not fuck up my VOD. So now if I click play on this, we can listen to Risk of Rain 2. Thank you, lovely people, for letting me listen to that on stream. And then that should now play through that. Good, good, good. Okay, let me put this over there. Man, we had crazy spikes. I wonder if that's just because of the streaming and the recording that's going on in the background, which, fair enough. Okay, we'll go up here and we're going to look up how to get entity of a component. God, I hate this. Is there not a dark mode? There's dark mode on the settings. On. I don't know why it's not my device default, but how to get component entities. Unity ECS. Use entity query. Oh, interesting. Okay. So we'll go into here. Oh. Okay, I don't know how that works. Let me turn it down a little bit. It's a bit loud. Okay, that should be fine. Let me know if it's too quiet. Might actually be too loud for me. Entity query, Unity ECS entity query. Entity query finds archetypes that have a specific specified of component types, then gathers that into a chunk. Okay, create an entity query. How do we do that? Entity query equals new entity query builder. That looks annoying. With all with, okay, and then let me see what this looks like. With all rewrite object position, with all displacement shared grouping. Okay, and so then we can grab those entities, I think. Or is there just a count? No, that's just what calculate entity count does, right? You would be able to use this for other things. Okay, so let's try this. Oh, and then maybe that's what we can use for this. So new entity query dot with, nope. How did that work? Oh, set an allocator. Allocator dot temp. Constructor has 0 parameters. Oh, okay. Oh, builder is what I should specify. And then that will have an allocator. With any. No, we're going to say with all, and that's going to be of type enemy, agent, and action sets. And that should probably be what? Ref RR, ref RW, without build. We have to pass the state, is that what that is? Yeah, okay. Okay. So now we should be able to say in EQ how do we execute the query? EQ dot to entity array. How do you match? I understand the point generally in ECS is not to match it, but then how do you solve this kind of problem? Because what we want to do is we want to get multiple components on the, maybe it's like 2 component data array. There we go. Of type ref RO enemy agent and ref RW action set. Incorrect number of type parameters. Maybe if we tuple it. Must be a reference type. Okay, I don't understand what that means. Hold on. Creates a native array containing the components of type T for the selected entities. Can I just add the entity to the query? Is that possible? Unity ECS query components with entity. Christ, this is bright. Okay. Oh, this is not Unity. Okay. There's got to be a way. One moment. Let me think this through. So. Ugh. Fuck, I need to drop my volume. It's a little too loud for me. Oh my god, that's why it's so loud. Okay. How to set component enabled in a job. Okay, so yeah, it looks like they do something similar to this, but we get 2 component data array and 2 entity query array. And then we... Okay. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to... we're going to make the query. Then we're going to do or entity... No, var... entity array is equal to eq.to entity array, and that'll be allocator.temp, and then we're going to do var component array is going to equal to eq.to component data array. Okay, now how do we determine the type there? Oh, you just get all of it. Okay, every time. So then we'll do enemy agent. We'll set that to allocator.temp. And then we'll do var. In this case, we'll do enemy component ECA. And then this will be ASCA. Christ, is equal to EQ.to component data array. I don't know if I like this solution because we're making 3 collections for this. Action set allocator.temp job. Okay, so now we can do is we can go to this. We can simplify all this down to in ECA. And then we'll say oh wait, I probably actually have to do it indexed. Okay, so we actually don't need this one. And then we can actually remove that from the filter. Okay. And then temps got auto-exposed at the end of the frame, but I don't wanna... I mean, they get auto-exposed, it'll be fine. We deal with it when it becomes a problem. Okay. This should be fine, I think. So what this should hopefully do is the action set component we have is going to get flipped on if your turn's ready. And then when we get to the behavior system, we only run the ones their action turn is ready. That was the issue that we were having. And so now that when we get to the queue system, it should only process the one that was doing that. All right, let's see. Did we actually get there? Oh, I was in debug. I was in play mode the whole time, like a dumbass. Okay, save that. Should we reload the domain? I'm curious to see how our profiler is going to do handling, because right now we're using 70% of 48 gigabytes of memory. So I think running all these different apps. So we'll see how this handles it. Okay. So we hit the player turn as expected. Turn system creates a query during on update. Please create queries in on create and store them in the system for use in on update instead. This is significantly faster. But don't you have to pass the state into it? If you don't pass the state, isn't it old data and therefore is useless? Maybe not. Maybe I'm missing something. God, I hate that that's 2 milliseconds. Granted, millisecond of that is from a string exception because we're using a debug logger, and then another third of a millisecond? Nope, half a millisecond is from the debug log, another debug logger. So this narrow window is actually non-debug related, I think. Okay. It's fine. It is what it is. Okay, so it seems to work. Now we can re-enable this and we'll run through it again. Close you, don't care. Here we go. Reattach. So let's hop through to ready enemies. That's what I want to see. So we get our singleton of behavior system data. We set that. We grab these. Okay. EA's list should be 3. Yep. Good. That's all the possible enemies that we have. Then we're going to do an iteration. Okay. Closes out. Yep. So now this should be the second one, which should work. Yep. Set that's to true. Add no resize. Yep. Okay. Good. Now we go back. We set the new state of the turn, flip on the relevant systems, turn ourselves off. Okay, then we're going to hit continue over to the input validator. I think the input validator is doing its job, so I don't really care about looking at this one right now. We'll figure it out if it's a problem later when we turn on the player turns. Okay, now we're in the behavior system. So we're going to hop down into... Actually, we can just skip through this because it's running through a job and I think we'll be fine. We know there's only going to be one that actually has the action set, so it should be pretty fine to do. Hit continue. We'll hit the input processor. Don't care about you right now because we're not doing the player stuff. Okay, queue system. Now we're going to head to here, hit continue, hop through this. Okay, what's our count at? 2. Oh, I haven't disabled the player yet. The player's action set is still alive, so that needs to be disabled as well. And that'll be... So that should be 1. And then q system.singleton read write q system data. So yeah, now we have the q value. Now we're going to assign the array. Capacity is 16. Why is it 16? Maybe 16's the minimum? But that doesn't seem right. If count is 2... There has to be like a minimum capacity or something. And I just don't know about. Okay. So then we'll schedule parallel. We'll hit continue. So now we get to end frame. And this should all run through pretty simply. Okay, we'll hit continue. I'll run through all of that. So that seems to be working correctly. Let me break off. Okay. What we're going to do next is I'm blanking. God, I'm tired. Let me get a drink real quick. I'll be right back. And let me actually reset my AFK button to what it's supposed to say. And then we'll be right back. Alright, here we go. God bless whoever the fuck made Limited. Okay. So we had... What we didn't need to do now. Oh, I'm going to change that before I forget. We had 2 changes I was going to make. We had the decrementer, so let's do that real quick. We'll just go into turn system data, so we're using that most of the time anyways. These are all bytes, so that's just... Hold on. We'll put one right here. Public read only bytes, and we'll name this, what would you call this? Speed per cycle decrement. Oh, that's what this used to be. We'll get rid of that, because that's no longer being used. And then, or I don't think it's being used. I mean, I guess it basically was that, so that should be fine. We'll just swap in that value. Speed. Okay, and then when we go into here, we're going to go, where was it? Oh, no. It was in the iterator. Yeah. We're gonna go up here. Data.value RO dot speed per cycle decrement. God, I love when my autocomplete is too slow to actually actually type what I need to. Okay, cool. So I think that fixed all the hard writing of that. In fact, I'll leave the 0, okay? The 0 is fine. We'll deal with that if that ever becomes an issue. Okay, so I think all this code is correct and does what it needs to. We haven't implemented the player turn yet fully. Like, we have the inputs kind of hooked up, but the actual flow through the system hasn't happened yet. And then we haven't implemented the reaction system. So those will be their own thing, but okay. Just to make sure that everything's working, when we, after the queue action, scheduled parallel. We're going to change this from scheduled parallel to run so that we can put this on main thread, and then we'll do debug.log queue actions. This is going to be called queue.value RO dot queued actions bracket 0. I want to see what's in there. So we'll get that. Oh, I'm no longer AFK. I need to turn that off. Dumbass. Okay. And then we'll run through this. Thank you. It is in fact a turn data. Is there a like 2-string extension that you can put on your structs? Let me check that. I don't actually know if that's the case. Can you put a 2-string extension on structs C#? Yes, you can add extension methods. That is not what the fuck I asked. Okay, you can do this. Good. To override the 2-string in your class or struct. Good. Yeah. This is what I want. Okay. Public override 2-string. Beautiful. Oh, it's so easy. And hopefully doesn't... Does that cost... Does the 2-string override cost... struct size? C#. Search.Barnes & Noble should be safe. Okay. I don't know what the fuck that link was. Oh, it was a book. I see. Framework Design Guidelines by Christoph Swalina? Something like that. Consider, or is it... Yeah, I think that's... It looks like, English-sized, or what do we call it? Converted to English, like, Cyrillic. Because they're returning a unique string. I don't think it would ever cost memory, right? C#, do methods in structs cost memory? Yes. On a per app domain basis, but there's no per instance cost. Oh, okay, so the base method gets like an extra couple bytes, but then each copy isn't stacking that. I understand. Okay. Holy fuck, I remember this part of the soundtrack. That was a whale. Okay. Firstly, the memory use and functionality is not based on the object, it's based on the class that you're making the object. Okay, yep. When memory is allocated for methods, not when, how much? Is this gonna be like a... Is it gonna be like a fucking gigabyte or something stupid? And obviously not gonna be a gigabyte, but... The hidden cost of dot memory allocation cost. This sounds interesting. It's from 2009? Okay, don't give a fuck. Can you give me something way more recent? Oh, and I closed it, so now I don't have the history. Do methods cost memory in C#. Yes, reduce memory questions. Enumerables had less memory? Oh, that's interesting. Bam, bam, boom. Oh. It's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. If it's an issue, I'll worry about it later. We're just going to go into turn data. How did we write this? Public override string. This action is... Okay, and then there was a convention. Framework to like naming conventions, type design, member design. Okay, this does not seem to be what I'm talking about. We're just going to do ID plus direction of would this be agent is doing in direction. That might be too much, but we'll see. And then all we'll do is we'll just go into turns, and then that should be fine if we click play. Agent 0 is doing 0 in direction 0. Well, that's not true for any of those, so what did we do wrong? Oh, we were just making a new one. We didn't actually... we didn't actually hook this in. Okay, so this should just be easy. we'll just say set dot plan, just like that. Why did I have such a sophisticated parallel writer thing for this? I don't know why I did this way. And this seems a bit much. Yeah, we'll just do, I mean, I guess we could keep as... Is there... Do I need that when I'm writing to one that's running on main thread? Fuck it. We'll keep it. I don't care. Let's see what happens. I don't think it reloaded. Oh, cancel that. Whatever that was. Save. Now it should do it. Agent 2 is doing 0 in direction 01. Correct. Why did that get flagged 3 times? Oh. I know why it got flagged 3 times. Because we started at speed 10. Well, technically speed 8, because I think we still have that bug enabled where it's starting at start cycle, which I actually need to write down. Make sure it doesn't start on start cycle. And then there was another thing I wanted to... Oh, before I forget. Change behavior data array to not be byte.max. Okay. So if I'm remembering this right, player speed is 5. So it's gonna go 8, 6, 8, then 6. Hold on. It's gonna do it at 8. Then it's gonna redecrement and do it at 6. And then it's gonna redecrement it. How do we get to 3? I feel like it should be at 2. I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, we're gonna turn system data, and we're gonna grab current state, and then we're gonna find usages. Okay, it's been used in systems 9 times. Current state, okay, so we get the current state. Debug.log, the switch. Current state's equal to start cycle. Right. And then turn system. Okay, but why is it... Did I spawn it in coming in at start cycle instead of start run? I go to system data authoring. It's only referenced in... Wait. Oh. It's right in front of me, and I'm just dumb. Start run. My fucking dumbass. Okay. So now if we click play... Yep, and now we start at 10, 8, 6. So now we've ran through it 4 times. How do we run through it 4 times? So let me make sure I remember this right. We start at speed 10. Perform a turn. Speed 8. Perform a turn. Speed 6. Perform a turn. Okay, then we dropped down to speed 4. Now the player's speed is 5. So they should go. And enemies shouldn't. So where does the 4th come from in this case? Okay. Let's turn off all of our gates. I don't care about that. Oh no, I want the queue system. We'll keep the queue system. Turn off the behaviors. Turn off the input validators. Close turn data. Close the spawn system. Turn off the end frames. Keep up one. Okay, if we click play. Oh, I need to attach. Okay, we're gonna hit continue. We're already enemies now. That's fine. I'll continue again. So we're on frame 1 right now. We're at this stage. Okay. So now we run through. We process an enemy. Cool. Now we're back here. Now we should be at speed 8. So let's hop down to start cycle. Current speed is 10. Hop through. Now we're down to 8. Okay, resume the program. Resume the program. We hit an error? Or no, that might just be because I was trying to access something before it was written. Okay, so now we're at 8. We hop through. Now we're down to 6. Continue, continue, continue. Now we hop down to 4. Okay. So now we're at 4. It is the player's turn. Oh. I see. I understand now. Okay. It's because we haven't properly set up the player's turn yet that this is happening. Because we're technically still enabling these systems. So now if we open up behavior real quick. I tag this one and I hit continue. It'll hit here. Yep. And then this one should flop down to here. Yep. And then that should start planning your actions, which does nothing. Which does nothing. So then how is it getting an extra turn out of us? Is in-frame cleanup resetting? It is resetting queued actions. Okay. Count is 2. Oh, I still need to disable player. But we're at 2. What is this? Okay, this song just has a random, like, mad scientist bit in it. Okay, based. We'll skip that. This talking's distracting. Alright. I think I see what's happening. So we're resetting the collection that stores the action set, but we're not resetting what the plan the enemy has is. So even though it's being overwritten every time we rerun the behavior system, the frame that we didn't run the behavior system, but the behavior hadn't been correctly adjusted such that the enemy still was getting queued, resulted in, because we didn't shut off the action set, we fucked up. We didn't turn everything off. That's the issue. So what should happen is here we need to do system API dot for each var enemy in system API dot query enemy agent, and then we'll do what would you call this? Clear enemy agent of type fuck, I'm blinking. Enemy agent had, what was the name of this? Oh, action set. And how did you specify if you didn't care whether or not it was off? How to query for disabled components Unity ECS. Ignore component enabled state. To ignore the entity slash stable state when creating an entity query. But ignore component enabled state. Okay. Oh man. Enabled. Entity with query T disables smash queries if it doesn't have T component at all. For example, if entity has components T1 enabled, T2 disabled, and T3 disabled, it doesn't match a query that requires both T1 and T2. It matches a query that requires T1 and excludes T2. It doesn't match a query with T2 and T3's option components because it doesn't have at least one of those components enabled. Method names that end and ignore filter treat all or queries created with entity query options that ignore the. Okay, how do we do this? dot with options. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Nice and easy. So then we'll just do enemy dot item 2 dot plan is equal to default. Oh, this needs to be ref RO, refer W. And then that needs to say dot value read write. Okay, that should wipe this. And then what we'll do here, which is just we should do anyways, is we're going to say why is I don't know why that shadow's there, but that's annoying as fuck. If system API dot get singleton of type turn system data dot current state is equal to enemy turn paste that in here. And we'll do else. Okay, and now this one will specify with all enemy, agent, and action set. And then this one will specify player and action set. Okay. And that should do that properly now. And then let's test this. Now we should have 3 turns. And then hit the player. Yep. 10, 8, 6. We don't collapse. Oh, we're hitting an error. Oh, it's because of the player. 01, 10, 01, or no. Oh, that happens on end frame. Okay, that's fine. 01, 10, 01, 8, 01, 6. 00, because it's default value, and then 4. Yep, and then that should work. And then we hit player turn, and then we just loop. Okay, good. Alright, that's all working as intended. I gotta go to the bathroom. And hold on, let me double check to make sure someone's not messaging me, because there was someone messaging me earlier. Okay. Fuck, they are. Alright, I have limited time than I thought. I'll be back probably tomorrow.